Hello everybody, I'm filming here what will be a game of Espinosa with the NBS battle series, a Napoleonic Brigade series, sorry. Now I'm setting this up and I'm going to play it on behalf of a pal of mine who, long-suffering pal who we're fighting each other on Vassal, he as the French and I as the Austrians at Marengo. But we're also fighting each other and the rules set somewhat because myself, I just keep forgetting rules and making rules mistakes and missing rules, and also partly because of the NBS. We're using the version 3.0, which is the last version there is. There are some vagaries within the rules and something sort of not fully explained, which has created some kind of ongoing discussions between us. But anyway, I'm playing some Napoleonic battle series. I'm on Napoleonic thing at the moment, tactical mainly, and I thought I would. So I'm playing that on Vassal, and I thought I'd play it on the table as well to help me stay within the rules. So this is for you, Mr. Man, and I hope it helps us. Anyway, this is a very interesting situation. It is on the Battle of Espinosa. I can't remember exactly when we start. We've got 2 days, and you've got here, you can see you've got the evening, night track, and the other day. And then we've got the elevation levels. So we go from level 1 up to level 31. Would you believe it? It's in Spain, so it's in the midst of Napoleon's second foray, his sort of major call back into Spain to try and finish off that place, bring it under his rule. And so we have this rugged Spanish terrain, and you can see these hills here. That will be the highest point, 31 levels up, going all the way down. So we have a river valley down there. So it's quite exciting in terms of that terrain. Essentially what we have is the town of Espinosa here. We have what is he, a brigadier? I'm not sure. It's Blake's in charge of the Spanish forces. He has his headquarters here with some cavalry reserve unit there, and this is the road of retreat for the Spanish forces. Essentially, they have been retreating, falling back in good order from the advancing French, who they have a brigade on here, no, a division on here. That's Villette's division, 4 brigades, and the rest of them will be coming on here. So then we have a victory location here. We have 1, 2 there, 1 on this hill here, and then 1 up the top there. This is kind of like a separate detachment. So this is called the Army of Asturia, which is essentially, I guess it's like peasant levies, so they're more or less untrained. There are morale levels of D, 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 E, C, and E. So the highest morale level is C, only 1 of those. All under command of Acevedo, with 2 other commanders in it's counted as one kind of, sorry, it's counted as one kind of division. I get confused with all the nomenclature. But anyway, that's kind of one formation, one force, but it has 3 leaders. So if the main leader dies, you've got 2 immediate replacements. And these ones can add, their morale to and so forth, affect the units they're stacked with as well as their division leader. But there's another interesting thing with those is that any leader with them, if they're shaken or better morale, these leaders can bloodlust them, and when you're bloodlusted you get bonuses on attack. So they're very fragile units, but they will have an advantage on at least their first kind of charge. Then apart from that, you have so you have oh yeah, by the way, I just filmed it like this just to show you its small footprint. This is the loss charts. There's a Spanish here, and I put the French on the other side. That is the size of the map, and there's the turn track. And then you get counters. I've mixed my counters up with some more NBS, or at least kept them in the same place. And then you get a French reinforcement track. So the reinforcements don't come on dictated time, but some variability there. You get the order of battles. You get some designer's notes, historical notes. You get two scenarios, essentially. The main scenario, the Battle of Espinosa de los Monteros, 10th to 11th of November 1808. And then you get an early start scenario. So this is the historical situation, including historical kind of orders at the start of the battle. And the other variant of scenario just really allows the Spanish player to adjust their starting positions, and all the French forces start off the map. There's a random events table there if you're playing with random events. I think I might. And then there's just one page of special rules. And this is all downloadable completely for free, including the version 3.0 rules if you want, off the Multi-Man Publishing website via the Gamers section, the Gamers Archive section. So anyway, what we have then is essentially Blake commanding the Army of Galicia, which is this army here, and then the Army of Asturias as a kind of like extra force in his command. So we have the let me see, we've got 3 divisions, a reserve division, a division del Norte, and a vanguard division. So I set them all up. The setup instructions are basically, within 1 or 2 hexes of such and such a place. So just to give you a quick rundown of the geography, there's a hill here. So we got San Roman with his Norte, Division del Norte, on the hill there and guarding the main approach road. It's got his skirmishers sent out here. It's nice to see some skirmishers being able to send out. They prove very handy in NBS. Then behind them you've got the reserve, Galatian reserve here, which is essentially only 2 units, one of them extended line over the road there. Then you've got the 2nd Division here and some standing back in reserve here. I've opted to generally hold back the strongest brigade. That's generally in terms of morale, not necessarily in terms of size, as the reserve brigade, and send 1 or 2 forward. We've got the 1st Galicia here, that's just 2 brigades of skirmisher. We've got the 3rd Galicia here, that's just 2 brigades and a skirmisher. And then we've got the reserve. So that wasn't the reserve. What's that one? That one's the vanguard. I can't quite read it. I have to get my glasses on and get up closer. But anyway, you get the picture. And then there's cavalry in reserve here. And there's actually 1 artillery battery here. Now, these I printed out. It's all print and play. So I printed it out and stuck them on corrugated cardboard, which I wouldn't advise. It makes them nice and thick and chunky, but corrugated cardboard is too light, so you have kind of light, and it doesn't feel very nice to have light feeling counters. If they're big, you sort of want heavier ones. Then the French have, as I said, Villette's division there, and then we've got Victor's 1st Corps over here with who's this? That's La Peace there. His division with 4 brigades, and Ruffin's division with 3 brigades. And then their artillery park, so forth, was lagging way back down on the road. So there's a horse artillery and 2 foot artillery units. They can come on as optional rules. I'm going to use that, but they basically come on by random reinforcement as an optional rule, because they didn't join in the actual fight they were too far back down the muddy roads and didn't make it. But potentially they could have got there, you know. Conditions regarding... Now, this is an interesting fight. I've played it once before, and I have some notes from my play, and if I can find them, I'll just show you. Here's my order log from that last play. So you can see this was the I think that was the Spanish and that was the French, so they each used quite a lot of orders to play the game. I don't know how usual that is for this kind of game. Okay, so the Spanish forces are, I mean, the French are obviously sort of better, more disciplined, and not necessarily larger forces, but they're all A, B size brigades, and morales of A. There's a couple of A brigades and at least 2 Bs, maybe 4 Cs overall in each division. And the Spanish, apart from those ones that are very sort of flimsy, they're sort of C's and D's. There's a B here, there's a B there, a couple of B's there. So the French are favoured in that respect, although obviously they've got less forces, but that it's not always a blessing, because the more units you have to order around, you know, the less opportunity you have to coordinate, because you can't necessarily order everyone all to do the same thing all at the same time. My notes for the battle from the last time is the French have to move fast, but are hampered in this and must deal with the threat from the mountain. And I remember that the French kind of came along here and they actually got, so a very interesting game. The Asturians came down between the Victor headquarters and the attacking French. So they basically cut the command line. So Victor was behind the Asturian forces and the French were in front and he couldn't command them. So, and the Asturians actually drove off the 1st Division whilst doing that. Then the outer command attackers had to halt. 2nd Division ran on into Espinosa, and the 3rd on the hill 804, which is here. So so we had Victor and his headquarters cut off somewhere here. The Asturians cut them off, and then drove off the 1st Division, and the rest went. 2nd Division went into Espinosa, and the 3rd onto the hill. And Blake, maybe I didn't record it, but maybe I remember him pulling off most of his command. That's right, he pulled off some of his command, but he managed to retain parts of Espinosa itself, I think. But anyway, it was a Spanish victory on 14 victory points versus the French 2 victory points. So it was a stunning Spanish victory. I will see if the French can do better this time. So special rules. So the general special rules are just that the weather is abysmal, so you can only get a night benefit for recovering stragglers if you're actually in the town of in any building hex. All buildings are like village walled farm. There's no fortifications. And because of the rugged terrain, if there's any questions of line of sight, just assume they're blocked. And I actually prepared on the map, I don't know if you can see, but you can see these hexes are outlined, and that's because there's small boulders in like a digital graphic on it, which wasn't very clear to me, especially, you know, you have to check under the unit to show that those were I think that's impassable terrain. Yes, that's right. So all this area is impassable. So these, okay. All this area is impassable. And so these units, they can either go forwards, or there's one hex and then a track they can take down the mountains. Again, there's unpassable areas here, so you have to go down the mountains. That is a just a thin track. These are impassable. It's just the sides are too steep and there's too many, so it's rock strewn, so it's impassable for units. There's also impassable terrain here and here, which probably won't come into effect. Here's all fine. You've just got scattered. There's some vineyards, you've got woods, and some orchard hexes. But many clear, and a few orchard hexes over here as well. So the French special rules are just that French are surprised because Victor didn't realise he had the whole Spanish army of Galicia ahead of him. So there's more chance of stoppage to start with, and Victor can only issue orders if he rolls successfully for initiative, and if he gets a loose cannon on that, one randomly determined French division loses its orders. Then there's the French reinforcements coming up varying times. So all Spanish commanders have their ratings reduced by 1 when rolling for initiative. So there's not going to be much of that because, for example, this leader's 3, that leader's 3, but 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So you can imagine they're on 0 or 1, maybe 2 for initiative. But like this leader, San Roman, is a fighter. Manzobali or something, I can't remember his name. Mendizabal is a fighter. Mahi is a fighter. This fellow Requilme is a fighter. So they're going to be great at fighting if they're not that great at command and control. No Spanish unit can use combat column, they just don't have the ability. I mentioned about the Army of Asturias there, and that's it, that's the special rules. There's a couple of variants, I'm just going with the variant French guns option. If you let Victor get a grip earlier so he doesn't suffer those attack stoppage and so forth and have to roll for initiative to issue an order, that gives the Spanish 3 victory points straight away.